IVM.
TFG Football is an IVM production, and you can also check out their other awesome shows like Geek Fruit with fellow and television geeks Tejas, Jishnu and Dinkar as they discuss the world of science fiction and nerd culture.
You're listening to TFG Football.
A new episode is here, guys, and this is the TFG Indian Football Podcast. I'm your host, Siju, and I have both the boys joining us were phone call, Chiranjeev and Kevin. Now, mind you, all of us are in our respective homes, so in case you hear any disturbance, apologies in the start. Now, it's been a season of a lot of sacking among the coaches. I mean, if you are an EPL fan, then you must be used to it, but we are also seeing the trend happening in Indian football, in Aizawl and I-League, especially this season more so in both the leagues where we've seen sacking of coaches. And Aizawl was like, okay, it's a short league. We've seen them in the past, coaches going because they want quick results and some of them are not able to deliver that. But I-League also has been seeing a lot of changes this time. And at present, currently the team that has, been part of the trend is Aizawl FC, the defending champions of India. They won the I-League last season with some great, we saw how a fairy tale story it was, but their coach and players were taken away by other teams, and then they appointed a new coach and also an assistant coach in Paulo Menezes and Martin. But things didn't go well in terms of result for the matches. There were they didn't play like champions. They didn't look like champions when they were on field. They were struggling a lot. They lost the ACL match and even struggling at the moment in I-League, currently 6th place. Now this shocking news came last night. Aizawl FC themselves took to social media to reveal the news, and this also came after the goalless draw against Neroka. Now, Chiranjeev, I'm coming to you. You spent a lot of time in Aizawl last season in terms of the book, and also after that, you were there when they were leaving for the ACL. Did you see this coming? I mean, was there a tension in the dressing room?
No, actually, I got the news from somebody in Aizawl, just before it was broken, and I was like, somebody's trying to pull my leg. But turns out, unfortunate circumstances just converged. I mean, you can see the results. Of course, I wouldn't have put Aizawl FC in the same peg as clubs like East Bengal, Mohun Bagan, or even ATK or some others who will fire a coach if you are not delivering instant results. But that's one of the factors. I'm sure last 7-8 matches Aizawl FC have not managed to win a single one. Last I think they won was 13 January, Chennai City at home. So yeah, we understand that.
And today marks a month then.
Today actually, just about a month since they won a match. And in the meanwhile, I think they were playing Neroka. They played Chennai City again. So I think the management wanted a few wins here and there, especially against Neroka.
Sure.
So all of that going in, and I think one big factor was what happened with the disciplinary situation, right? After the Mohun Bagan game, the coach got angry. Assistant coach also got angry. The coach has been under scrutiny for repeatedly calling out the coaches, the referees, and then Aizawl FC get a 3 lakh fine from AIFF. And in hindsight, when we sort of, somebody should have seen this coming. Maybe I'm not old enough, or I'm not experienced enough to have that kind of insight at this moment. But in retrospect, it feels like, oh yeah, that makes sense, because just 3 lakhs fine, no major penalty, no point deduction, and the Aizawl FC president Robert Rohit goes out and apologizes to AIFF. So why did we think that was it? Why would suddenly they get a very light punishment and everything else would be forgiven? I think I think he communicated to the to the disciplinary committee or whoever else it was that yeah, we're no longer going to have the coach around. It's I'm not like nobody has told me this happened. I'm saying this is probably what happened because these kind of moves are part of negotiating punishment. Because of course Aizawl FC did not want the last home game moved out, or some ruling saying that they have to play behind closed doors or something like that, or a bigger fine. You remember when FC Goa had that issue with the ISL disciplinary committee, and in the to save the point deduction from FC Goa, the owner said we're stepping out.
Yeah.
And that's how FC Goa tried to save the season in 2016. So I think this may have been part of that. To save the club, you sacrifice the coach. It's a shame because the coach was pretty good. He's been doing some brilliant stuff with the club, and just look at the way they played against Zobahan. I don't think you needed any a better example of what this team is capable of. They lost all their good players, not just to ISL but to other I League clubs, and still they go out. They get 2 draws against East Bengal. They hold Mohun Bagan, and they go toe to toe with an Iranian club. And for somebody who's playing with this much inexperience at this level, that's not a bad achievement in the end. And just being frank, this time Aizawl FC didn't look like they were going to be champions. Last time was very different reality. This time that Indian core was gone. So how better could anybody have done with this team? So yeah, it's happened. It's always sad to see a good coach go, but I don't know, Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin, I'm going to get you here. Do you think it's like a move? I mean, probably something because you want the result, but considering the fact that the season is almost over now, I mean, what do you have to say about it? Because it's kind of surprising at this moment.
It's not shocking. It's surprising, I would say, because I think the character of the coach was not the best that Aizawl FC would be expecting. It's something that we've seen Aizawl FC not doing over the years is the fan violence that happened. I think that was a dent on the character of Aizawl FC, and probably the management is blaming the coaches, the head coach and the assistant coach to be some way partly being responsible for that. But looking at the performances that he's delivered, I think he was fine. Sometimes you cannot do everything with the squad that you have. Whatever you could do, he did. So somewhere, just seeing the season go by, it wasn't the right moment for him to go. So probably they could have waited for the season to get over. It's no sense bringing in a coach when your squad is not the best at the moment. What you can't be expecting somebody to come and work wonders in a very short span. 3 or 4 matches remaining, you won't expect that they're able to turn around with those few games. Just letting the coach go at this moment is not very. It doesn't make sense at the moment, but they had to do it. Probably they've got hidden reasons behind that, and when you use it, he summed up very well. So the possible hidden reason that we not maybe aware of. For me, it's still not the best time to let go of a coach. It's not that they had a slump in their performance. Their performances were going well. The results were not in their favor. And it's not that the players were not giving their best. I think every other player out there was out being there just to get the best performances. But sometimes the squad itself is not that good. So whatever the coach does is never going to change it.
So let me quote controversy a little bit more because I've already gone down that road. I'll just speculate a little further. Okay, Aizawl FC are not just fighting for the I League. They've got 5 games left in the I League, but there's also Super Cup, which
Right.
means minimum 3 games, and they've also got the AFC Cup group stage, which means another minimum of 6 games. And I think AFC Cup is the biggest assignment that they have. I think Aizawl
Yeah.
FC will tie their entire being, their entire identity around what they do in the AFC Cup. So it's a crucial juncture for the club, and they know that whatever they're doing currently is not working to the best of the possibilities, right? Because they're trying, they're going out and they're competing, but they're not delivering results, and they don't want that to happen in those tournaments. So
Right.
here's what I'm speculating. We had that interview with Paulo Menezes up there in our one of our previous podcasts. You know what he
Right.
reminded me of? He reminded me of Manuel Retamero, the former Spanish coach of Aizawl FC, who wanted to teach the Aizawl FC players to play in the Spanish way with the tiki-taka and other different beautiful brand of football. And it was not delivering results. They were not getting wins. They were playing well, but they were not getting wins. And then what happened? Johodas came in after he was fired, and again, that wasn't just because of performance. There was some problem between the management and the coach. He was fired. Johodas comes in as head coach. Behind him, actually, like taking a big share of the responsibility, was Sir Mala, Mr. K. Malsom Kima, who is known as Sir Mala among football fans in Mizoram. He is an exceptional coach, a strategic mastermind. The only reason we don't see him or hear him in the national level is because he doesn't speak English and Hindi very well. He's mostly proficient in Mizo, so he works in Mizoram, works mostly with Mizo players. Okay, and what happened after that? They turned that team around, and they reached the final of the Federation Cup. And when and already, by the way, right now this is a rumor, it's not confirmed. Johodas is being considered to be the head coach of Aizawl FC once again, because he's already at the club as head of youth development. And if he's there, I guarantee you, if they say Johodas is the head coach now, then Sir Mala is going to be there with him as assistant coach or whatever role he gets. He will be working as well with the team, and it's Sir Mala that Mr. Royte really loves and respects. I think every Mizo football fan respects Sir Mala a lot, and for good reason. He can turn this shit around, and you know what he does? He does not try to make them play in a new style. He just utilizes the best these players can already do, and he understands the Mizo players so well that he can use them in an optimum level, and he does so well in cup tournaments. We've already seen in Federation Cup. So what do you say that if I say that maybe Aizawl FC management was not happy with the way things were going already, maybe a month back, when Aizawl FC were obviously not in contention anymore for a title, but they waited, because if you're going to play in the ACL qualifier, you need a coach with a pro license, and Johodas has an A license. But now that the ACL qualifier is done and they are in AFC Cup and playing I League and Super Cup, an A license coach is good enough. So there is that the licensing requirement is no longer there.
Okay.
So what if they had made up their mind before, and all this just provided them the right, all the right reasons to finally go through with it? What if the management had already decided that, look, this is not working, and if we are to salvage this and do well in AFC Cup and this thing, we need Johodas there, we need Sir Mala there. I'm just saying, what if? So that
Right.
also may be one of the ways this went down.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because if that was the case, they anyway had Jahardas with them, right? Because it's probably, I don't know, I'm just trying to, uh, I don't know, maybe like they could have gone with Jahardas instead of appointing a high-profile coach like that.
No, because if you are going to play in the AFC Champions League qualifiers, then you need a pro license coach, right? And Jahardas doesn't have it. Sir Mala doesn't have it. I think Sir Mala has been trying to get some B or A license. I don't know for sure for a while, but it hasn't gone through. That's one of the problems. The exam is in English. That's the only thing holding Sir Mala back. It's a travesty. I mean, he should be one of the top Indian coaches right now. But you know what? That's the thing.
Yeah. Crazy stuff. Kevin, any parting thoughts on the on this whole saga that has marked the defending champions?
This is a whole new angle that Chiranjeev has brought up. I have no idea about this, and if this is true, we will really be shocked. But looking at the remainder of the season, at least in the I League, mid-table finish or at least getting to the Super Cup is the minimum that Aizawl FC at the moment is capable of. And I think they should be good enough to see themselves through at least the Super Cup. AFC Cup, I doubt they have a team that's fighting. Hopefully they can just be there. We not even go through the group stage, but they have a side that's ready to give a tough fight to some of the better teams in Asia. But I seriously doubt if they can go through the group stages.
The only one team qualifies, and there's Bengaluru FC in there. But I just know again what I said. The point I made about the licensing and Sarmala and Jahardas. Look, it's again this is not something like concrete. This is my speculation. But after the Aizawl FC versus Mohun Bagan match, Aizawl FC team has been outside since then. Like they went and played Zobahan, then they went straight to Chennai, then they went to Goa, then they went to Manipur, and this is the first time that they returned to Mizoram since then, and this happens. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll see some, the old Aizawl FC back who are, very very good on the field. I know a lot of these things off the field things don't take over their good football. Now, moving on, I mean, we've taken most of the first half talking about this big issue because it needed that much of attention. Now, we slip into a short break here. On the other side, we're talking about an historic day for Gokulam Kerala FC. A club from Kerala who came in and snaked in a win, not snaked in. They had a great match and got 2 goals against Mohun Bagan to cancel out because equalizer. Now, we'll talk about that and also more on Bengaluru FC's AFC Cup campaign because they're going to take on TC Sports Club later tonight in Maldives. So all of that on the other side of the break.
Hi, I'm Amit Verma, the host of the weekly podcast The Seen and the Unseen. In my show, I examine the seen effects and the unintended consequences of public policy and private action. I show how policies meant to help the poor often end up hurting the poor. I've done episodes so far on demonetization, GST, surgical strikes, immigration and MRP. And I will continue my forensic assault on the truth in the weeks to come.
Catch the show every Monday on the IVM Podcast app or any other podcasting app that you prefer. Or visit seenunseen.in for all the latest updates.
Welcome back, guys. And before slipping into the short break, we spoke about the whole thing that happened to Aizawl FC, which broke out last night, that they've parted ways with their coach and assistant coach. Now, moving on with some action on the field, we saw Gokulam Kerala FC take on Mohun Bagan at Mohun Bagan's home ground, and things look like some great news because the Mallu inside me is very happy for now because 2-1 victory. And I think it was FNI or probably himself, Gunnar, only who tweeted this saying that he received some message on WhatsApp saying, no, the Kerala Blasters could not beat a team in Kolkata, and Kerala FC did that, beating Mohun Bagan, what shouldn't even call the real club of Kolkata probably. 2-1 was the scoreline, 2 in favor of Kerala, and what a match. I mean, for the first time, I think this season, for me, when I was looking at their game, it looked like Kerala were in the game from the start and they wanted those goals. They were pressing hard. They put Bagan under pressure and, well, they've got the scoreline, they got the win, they got 3 points and much delighted victory, I would say. Kevin, I'm going to get you because I'm going to keep the Bagan fan away from here. For some time at least. But what a match, right? I mean, in terms of how Kerala showed their fight and which I think kind of lacked in the start of the season, but they've managed to do that against Bagan.
They've had a rocky season, I would say. Even after getting into the I League, they didn't really show that promise of a new club, that hunger that was seen in at least like teams like Chennai City and Minerva last season. We talked about a transformation about those teams in the second half of the season. Gokulam Kerala haven't really got there. So what's happening with them is again they don't have enough players who played in the top division, and you would give them that advantage. Okay, so you won't be expecting them to be very competitive, and just hovering around the bottom of the table for so long. So it gets to you at times. So even though the relegation threat is not there, but at times when you don't have the results coming your way, the morale of the team is down. And then coming to this game, they obviously knew that Mohun Bagan are also in a phase where some team is able to beat them. Unlike this team Mohun Bagan in the past, where they've been is so strong that the defense is unbeatable. They weren't in that. So that belief was there in Gokulam FC, and it showed by the way they started. First 20 minutes, I did not see a single real threat put in by Mohun Bagan. It was Gokulam FC, obviously, again, that their shooting was wavered, not getting it on target, but all that was important was that they were able to keep the ball in the opposition half. Coming to this, towards the later half of the first, towards the end of the first half, I think Mohun Bagan did start to put in their hold on the game and start in pockets of game plays. We saw Mohun Bagan just trying to get in that one or two shots on goal. But second half was a whole entire different story. It was a match for match. Gokulam really put in that pressure, and they got more closer to the Mohun Bagan goal. And Chital Paul, I think he's made a couple of saves that kept Mohun Bagan in the game till then. But what a time we've seen the finish of the game. So last 5 minutes or so, I think everything lit up. I think everybody in the stadium just must have been on the toes at that time, and it was a thrilling finish. But what about the sit-up by Akram? Now you don't expect somebody from a player of his experience to miss a goal like that. I think it's all getting into the head. So when you have an opportunity like that, instead of just finishing it for real, I think the pressure got to him, and he did hit the woodwork. It was more of a miss for me rather than being unfortunate. We won't have the luck being blamed on Bagan there. It's just casual attitude, untidy finishing. Dipanda Dika had a chance there. He hit the woodwork. But Gokulam Kerala took their chances. One or two chances they had in the game, and they were able to convert that, and that's all you need. And what a finish we had. I think till the end, the 7 minutes added on, really felt like we had another goal coming. But 2-1 was the final result. I think it's fair to say that Gokulam Kerala, it's one of the biggest victories that they've got in this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Virenji, third home defeat. Now you can, let the Mohun Bagan fan talk.
I don't want to talk about it at all. Shit game, shit finishing. Akram Mograbi had the chance to finish that game. With the kind of service he got, just didn't do it. It's just not. Nothing seemed to be going right. Anyway, somebody pointed it out to me that this I-League season, Mohun Bagan have won matches only in the weekends. Every time they play in the weekdays, it's a draw or a loss. So I don't know if that's a jinx or not. I was like, Yeah, maybe we're gonna break the jinx on
So it's
Monday.
always the case with Bagan fans. If there's no Sony Norde, then that's the excuse, and now you've got a new excuse to say.
It's not an excuse. It's a freaking superstitious comment made by somebody, and which is stuck in my head now because that thing did not get broken. But anyway, yeah, it's the whole situation is rather stupid. They should have finished it. They should have gotten 2 goals up by 70 minutes. Uh, you can't actually miss chances like this, and you can't then complain that you didn't win the match. And the defense was all over the place. Come on, the way they just went all gung ho and conceded towards the end. Same thing happened, by the way. Like Gokulam scored that first goal, then they conceded because their defense did not turn on immediately, and then Mohun Bagan conceded the second goal because their defense was not properly alert. So I just don't want to think about that game anymore. It's over. It's done with. Move on.
Well, yeah, moving on. Today we are an I-League kickoff, and that will be the time-deciding match coming your way. We spoke about it in detail on yesterday's show, and we also have a preview written by Kevin on our website, thefangarage.com, so do check it out. But meanwhile, we move on to the AFC Cup fixture. We spoke about the whole emergency situation that happened, and the things that were happening in Maldives that probably might have kept Bengaluru FC not going to Maldives, but they decided to go because that's what they are. They do football, so there will definitely be security and all of that stuff. And the match day is here. It's at 9:30 p.m. kickoff, ISP, and we shall talk about the game today. What are we expecting from this, and what can we expect from Bengaluru FC as well? Kevin, coming to you. Bengaluru FC taking on TC Sports Club of Maldives. What are your thoughts now? The fact that the numbers also say, sorry to cut you, but numbers also say that Bengaluru FC have played 2 matches in Maldives and previously, and they've got both the games in their favor. So do you think it's going to happen here as well?
That was a totally different team, and looking at the squad, I think Roka could have still gone ahead playing a full strength team here, but he chose not to. Again, we see the reliability on a few younger players in this game tonight, and that's the strength of BFC. They've got the squad depth, and they're not shying away from showing off that. And that's the belief that they want to show to everybody that they can play multiple tournaments and even perform to the best of expectations. So this will be a game where Roka has already seen some of the players that were tried and tested in the past that have done well, and they can be worked around. Just playing a different strategy. Probably it's an away game. They don't want to throw all out there and risk the home game being played at a very cautious level. So I'm not sure what are the injuries. I'm not sure if Bengaluru have any injury concerns. But I think they should be fine with even a 1-goal lead coming back to Kantirua. And it's always best to play your away game first because you get the advantage of working things around. And just the fact that it's all that everything happening around the emergency situation and things are being talked about. There's a lot of support being given from both governments and the federation as well. So it should be just another match, everything aside. And Bengaluru have their focus on this and they want to make it to the final once more. So another chance for them. Yes, coming to the Maldives record, it's a whole new level. Last season was different. This season, it's again, it's not the same similar squad that's going there. There will be rotation, and we've seen Roka do well in the past with the rotation. And it's the promising youngsters who will be stepping up. If there will be goals, we will have to see, but trying not to concede can be on their mind. Trust and Care is the name, it's very unheard of. Trust and Care Football Club. All right, so then my prediction for this game is it's going to be a goalless draw, or probably a 1-0 win to Bengaluru FC.
Okay, fair enough. Chiranjeev, now both these teams have done well in their preliminary round. Bengaluru winning 3-0 at home and away was a goalless draw. Meanwhile, TC Sports Club had, they were playing a club from Bangladesh and Staff Sporting Club. They had a good result against them, 3-1 and a 1-0 victory. So I think it was 4-1. So how do you assess this match for Bengaluru FC?
Well, the Maldives league is rather short, so it runs around like August to November. So this team is in pre-season. TC Sports Club, trust and care. So they're trusting and taking care of themselves way before the league actually starts. So they don't really have actual matches to like keep them warm right now. They're not in the middle of a league like Bengaluru FC is. I think this works in favor of Bengaluru FC because the players are in the middle of the hustle. TC Sports Club, I would say there's just one way to stop that team. Just double mark this guy. Anatoly, I don't know exact pronunciation, Vlasichev. Kyrgyzstani midfielder, but he seems to be scoring all their goals for them. The guy has played like 13 games for the Kyrgyz national team, but hasn't scored. 39 years old, has been all over, even played for Spartak and other teams. Played in Oman as well. So yeah, he's been around. He's their star player. He's their star striker. He's their danger man. You hold him down, I don't think they have a tooth left. Okay. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty easy that way. You just there are those other players like Hashan Ibrahim, this Ahmed Riwan, who can give you that kind of edge in a field, but I'm not impressed by this team at all. In the end, it doesn't look very intimidating. It seems like Vlasichev is one of their few foreigners. I think he might be the only foreigner who's part of the squad, which makes sense because again, this is not their league season. Their transfer business is not done properly. So you face a team like that, if you don't produce the results, I don't even know what else to say then. Bengaluru FC have every chance to get like a 1-goal, 2-goal lead and make their home leg comfortable, and they should be able to do it because the BFC defense, unlike the defense of the Bangladeshi club Saif that TC Sports Club were playing in their first preliminary stage, it's not very, what do you call it? It's way too way much more experienced, way more deep and capable. And Albert Roca is also a way better coach who knows this tournament well as well. So yeah, it's you can just predict an easy win for Bengaluru FC here. What time is the game?
9:30 p.m.
Yeah, and it's obviously not on TV because Star Sports couldn't get anybody in the country because there's an emergency, of course. But of course, Bengaluru FC still got there. Anyway, if we find a stream, we'll put it up on thefangarage.com. We'll share the link on at the TFG Football on Twitter. So keep an eye. We'll make sure you get to see the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Because unlike others, some of them who don't want us to see some matches. But that's all from us, guys. Hope you enjoyed the show, and hope you'll enjoy today's 2 fixtures. We have an I-League filler and also an AFC Cup fixture coming your way. So footballing action on this Tuesday. Now, if you did like our show, then please share some love, like, share, subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on any new episodes from us. Let us know your thoughts about these games and anything else, even the Aizawl Coach Saga in the comment section below. If you talk to us directly, you can do that. We're on Twitter. Chiranjeev Toja, Kevin, 94. Have a great day, folks. Enjoy. And like Chiranjeev said, get on the website thefangarage.com for more details in Indian football action. Cheers and thank you. Bye-bye.
He bends down to test the warm water for his bath. He comes here to quench his thirst for a hot shower and some podcasts. You can witness how he enjoys having other people talk about cool stuff in his bathroom. Indeed, it helps him with his loneliness. You can find more of his pieces on ivmpodcast.com, your one-stop destination where you can check out the coolest Indian podcasts. Happy listening.